As a new ISP, I have not worked through a peak season yet. Could you tell me how my contract works during peak?
No problem, Jay. Before you were an ISP, did you notice more delivery activity in your neighborhood during the winter holidays? Perhaps you've even been surprised by a package delivered late in the evening. In the FedEx world, the busy winter holidays are known as peak season. Peak season is also referred to as surge, due to the surge in volume that occurs during that time. Delivery volume can increase by 20 to 40% depending on the service area. Jay's adds about 35% more volume to his routes during peak. Peak season lasts from Thanksgiving through the end of December. It is worth mentioning that volume starts to build in the weeks prior to Thanksgiving. As a FedEx ISP, you are only required to service a predetermined delivery volume per your contract. This volume is defined as the threshold. The threshold is usually based on a typical historical volume. Contractually, you have the right to decline delivery volume over your threshold. But most contractors welcome the extra volume. For most contractors, volume will exceed the threshold during peak season. FedEx provides additional compensation to incentivize ISPs to meet this seasonal demand. This is called surge pay. Each year at the end of August, FedEx issues an addendum to the contract called the Schedule K. The Schedule K defines how the ISP will be compensated for volume that exceeds the threshold. Now let's talk about how FedEx compensates for surge volume. Generally, this is done in two ways. First, the ISP will be offered a fixed weekly amount for 10 weeks prior to Thanksgiving. This fixed amount is called pre-peak pay. Essentially, the ISP is compensated in advance to prepare to meet the peak season demand. Preparation for peak might include additional truck rentals and temporary or part-time hires. After Thanksgiving through the end of the year, the ISP will be paid a variable amount for stops over the specific threshold. This extra amount is called surge stop pay. Per the contract, Jay will be paid $1.50 per surge stop. However, we won't know his threshold until the end of August when his Schedule K is issued. For now, we will use last year's threshold to illustrate surge stop pay. Using last year's threshold of 3,025 stops, let's review an example. Jay's stop rate is $3.05 per stop, and his package rate is 19 cents per package. Once Jay performs more than 3,025 stops in a week, he will be eligible for surge stop pay. Based on last year's threshold, Jay would be paid an additional $1.50 for each stop over his threshold. This means that a surge stop is worth $3.05 plus 19 cents plus $1.50 for a total of $4.74 per stop over the threshold. It is important to note that when it comes to surge pay, the threshold is the most important factor for a profitable peak season. If the threshold is set too high, the ISP will miss an opportunity to turn the increased demand into profit. So remember, Jay, to reach out to us once you receive your Schedule K. This concludes Part 5 of our series about how FedEx contractors get paid.